What are you jamming on now?
Only a couple games. Definitely still playing College Football 26. The Miami Redhawks are ranked 7th in the country right now. We got as high as 3rd, but we lost a fucking bullshit game. A bullshit game to that team up north by 2 points, where I totally left points on the board, dominated them statistically, definitely should have won the game. Bullshit. Either way, I'm in a 3-way tie now at the top of the Big Ten with both Michigan and Ohio State. So I need one of those two to lose over the next 2 weeks to clear the tiebreaker. You know, either way, I'm going to the playoffs, like likely. As long as I can take care of business against Indiana this week, I'll be going to the playoffs. So it's fun. The funny thing I will say, so I had my last user game. You know, I'm in a 20-person user dynasty with this. And, you know, it's great. You know, the hardest games are usually your ranked matchups and your user games, because obviously your users are going to be better than the freaking computer. And so, despite me being ranked, you know, I was so bad at this in College Football 25. The fact that I'm now like 2 straight winning seasons guaranteed in 26, you know, makes it feel good. But it's like, all right, I'm gearing up for a user. This person's in like tied for 3rd in the Big 12, but they beat Oklahoma recently. So think of them as like, all right, they're like really good. And I'm playing this dude. He's messaging me beforehand like, oh, don't beat me so bad. And I'm just like, oh, whatever, you know. I'm lightweight concerned because like my halfback got injured in the Michigan game. Him and another like wide receiver got injured for the season. So I'm already like, fuck, like how's this going to go? I'm playing the game back and forth. I'm stopping him. Gutsy calls. I open it up in the 3rd quarter. I'm up like 35-17. And I just get this, like he pauses the game for a second. We're playing. I get this kind of thought like maybe I should just look at the Discord chat. I look and he's like messaging me like, yo, my controller, like, can you pause it for a second? So I'm like, yo, like he's like messaged me over and over in the thing. So I like pause it and I'm like, yo, I was like pause it because I'm like, I'm locked in. Like I'm locked into the game. Like why would I be on my phone, you know? And so apparently like supposedly his right thumbstick broke, and his batteries died, so he needed to like run down to the basement and get some new batteries. So I'm waiting there for like a couple minutes. I'm just like, okay.
Does he have another thumbstick in the basement
too? That's what I'm wondering. I'm like, okay, like I would assume you have another controller nearby, but whatever. A couple minutes later, he says thank you and unpauses. He's like, sorry, I had to go. Like, so I'm like, whatever. You got your shit fixed, whatever. And like, boom, bust another like touchdown on him, you know. And he's just like, and I'm at this point, I just kind of leave the chat open, and like I see him say something like, "Oh, if you score again after this play, I might just be done. Like this is bullshit. I'm losing." You know, I'm just ignoring it at this point because I'm like, I'm rolling, I'm feeling good, you know, and I score again, and I just keep playing, and then like a couple seconds later, the game just ends, and I'm just like, "The fuck just happened?" And he rage quitted. And I guess he like conceded, and a message just popped up saying you concede. But that has only ever happened when I play a completely different mode in college football. It's never happened in a dynasty. So I was like, what does that mean? And so like,
it means you were a bitch.
Yeah. And
you were a salty bitch.
Yeah, and it shows like the game ended, but like my 4th quarter stats are like incomplete, even though the score is still like 41, right. 17, and so I'm looking at. So then I go look at the chat again, and like somebody else is just like, "Dude, quit with fucking 2 minutes left. Can we boot this guy, please?" And so the dude was like, "Fuck you, bitch!" Like this back and forth, like, they do. Dude ended up like rage quitting. They ended up removing him from the league for that. And other people were just like, "Man, great job, gentleman, JB. Sorry your stats will like save." And somebody else was just like, "What?" They were thought, "Oh, it was great."
Jay, in my head, I was thinking that story was going. I completed it as you were going, or as you were getting started. I was thinking and maybe even hoping that you were going to tell me like that happened, like the pause thing happened, and like you made up these stories about whatever it is, fucking control shit, and then like from there on out, his performance just like ticked up and you ended up losing, or at least being close. And I thought the end thing was going to be your assumption or hypothesis that he had gotten someone else to step in and play for him, and he was like waiting for that person to get there or something. That was what I was hoping for.
Crazy. No, after he changed batteries, did whatever. I don't know what the deal with the stick is. But I was did
not help perform. It was not equipment based.
Yeah. It was funny though. The various people backing me in the chat all of a sudden just like, take your loss like, man, what the fuck is this? Like, he's rage quitting again. Like, fuck that guy. I was like, oh, damn. I don't recall the last time somebody rage quitted in that chat, so I don't even remember, but it's very funny though.
Great.
Anyway, so that's pretty much that. And then I found some, I actually bought Catan on sale. Like, have you ever played, popular board game Catan?
I know it.
Yeah.
We all the time say we probably should.
Yeah. I'd seen a coworker playing it online, and you're in my friends list, and I kept hoping for sale because I was not going to pay like $30-$40, whatever it was. I was not going to pay it, but it went on sale for like $3.99. So I snagged that bitch immediately, and it's kind of like my chill time game now. Clearly nothing fast paced about it. And, like, it's way faster than, like, a normal Catan game where you're just playing for hours, potentially. And so, like, it's nice. It's nice, like...
And also just no setup.
Yeah, like, the quick game. Like, I don't have to do the quick... I can just do a quick setup and it, like, kind of adds it. So much better. So much better. So, that's definitely been, like... Instead of Halo, when I need, like, some chill, and I'm, like, after work, I need to just kind of decompress, I'll just play a little Catan. So that's been nice and unexpected. But other than that, like, the only game that I've been playing or had time to really play is a new game that's come out on Game Pass, and it's called Ball Pit.
I've heard of this.
You've heard of it?
Talked about a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know really anything about it, but I just know I've heard that it's like caught on.
Yeah, it's a weird game,
That is what I've heard about it. That it's like a really unexpected, like simple. It's a simple concept, right? It's like basically
it like at its base, it's really like a continuously scrolling vertical shooter, like, basically, like you're just like a character.
I was definitely thinking like cup and ball.
I mean, like, you're a character on the screen, and your screen's just constantly moving, but enemies are constantly coming down at you, kind of a thing. And you have a gun, and you can move it, you can aim it left, right, forward. I mean, basically left and right, and it can bounce off the wall. And as you go, like, you have a meter. As you shoot enemies, they drop things. You grab those as you're going, as the screen is moving, and then you level up. And as you level up, you grab different abilities. Like, you can grab a freeze thing, and it shoots like a freeze ball, which freezes enemies. And once they're frozen, you do more damage. Or a lightning thing, which strikes 2 random enemies. So it's like a lot of other games. Instead of just like walking around the screen and enemies coming at you, it's just like the vertical scrolling version of that, and you're just kind of shooting back and forth as you grab different weapons.
Vertical shmup horror game. So is the Ball Pit? Is it supposed to be like Ball Pit, like a fucking Chuck E. Cheese ball pit?
No. No, it's weird. So the weird part about it, outside of that, which is like the core gameplay mechanic, like, after you finish a run, because, like, if too many enemies come, they hit you over and over and you die. If you don't retry, you can return to base. The thing is, when you're down there, you're shooting at enemies, you are technically in the pit. And so you come up on this, like, giant elevator thing. It's basically lowering you into the pit each time. But, like, when you come up, you have, like, a little base. And you can build houses and different places in your base. And there are, like, things you can harvest if you can build them and harvest. I don't even understand the point of all that kind of stuff yet. But as I'm going along, because it's weird, like, the core gameplay mechanic is you're in the pit doing the vertical shooting thing. But then you come out of it and it's like, what am I doing in this base? And it kind of throws you off. But at the same time, as you play levels and kind of go over and over, it's pretty much you go down, play through, fail or not, come back up, harvest, like, build something, harvest, and then go back down. It's kind of back and forth. And as you're in this base area, the different buildings that you can build, and you get plans while you're down there in the pit as well. So, like, you can build different kind of buildings and expand it. And once you do, you get, like, more intelligence or faster speed, like these little things. Like, I can't really tell much of a difference yet because it's not as straightforward as I would expect it to be, like the things that they're doing. But I know that they are boosting me and adding things to my run. So it's
sure.
Yeah, so it's fascinating. Like, it's a weird little game, but it kind of hooks you in. I guess it's the best way I could put it. So
yeah, it was
definitely not quite RPG. Like, it doesn't really quite go there, but it just has little aspects.
Sure. It just gives you progress.
Yeah,
perma progress of some kind. Sure. Yeah, I don't remember. Probably the only thing I listen to that's like industry wide is fucking that cheap ass gamer shit. So probably them. But yeah, they were talking about in the context of like basically how indie titles thwarting the AAA industry left and right as far as like the cost to success ratio goes.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, man, that's all about. That's pretty much it. I was thinking about throwing on a VR headset yesterday, and then I got busy. The kids got home, and that changed the whole trajectory.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. I have on my end so many activities. So much is going on with the VR space as far as games dropping and whatever. Maybe it's just my own personal whatever flow as well. But there's also been some new stuff, and there's a lot more new stuff coming out. That's kind of like whatever, highly anticipated shit. Some that I care about, some that I don't. But for starters, the first day I played a bunch. I mean, it's been a while since we recorded an actual base ep because of the side quest completion tangent we went on there. But I played my fair share of Bayou Billy on the NES for that guest. I did that guest spot on the Still Loading Pod with a fellow Josh, and that was a game that like I just knew we were never gonna fucking do any. There was just never. It's just not a good enough game, and like the context of that is obviously a lot less intense than our fucking gameplays for games or game episode games. So our game episodes coverage, whatever. And yeah, so I played a shit ton of that, and I didn't quite beat it, but I definitely got further than I ever gotten in that game. And it is a bad video game, dude. It's a really bad video game. Yeah. Obviously, if you want to hear me rant about that, listen to the episode. But because it's a game I have this weird, that's of course part of what the conversation was, is kind of your personal relationship to it. And that's a weird game because I acquired that game myself. Like I either bought it off David Camargo or traded for it or something. And I want to say maybe like 6th grade. So like late NES too, like right before I would have gotten my Genesis probably. And it was a game that like intrigued me enough to like seek it out myself. You know what I mean? It's not like I didn't have any parental intervention in acquiring that. I bought it with like lunch money. You weren't given
to you as a Christmas present.
Right, yeah. I bought it with like lunch money or however I would have acquired a few bucks. I'm sure I didn't spend a ton on it. Probably because Camargo was liquidating his NES collection because he already had the Genesis, be my guess. I don't remember that clearly. But anyways, yeah, I had this like, I like wanted it and like it seemed cool to me, and like the multifaceted aspect of it is something that like appealed to me at the time, so it was kind of one of those games that like because you personally invest in it like that, and as a kid every decision is so much more it's just so much higher stakes, right. Spending your money on something and like making a choice, and like not only making a choice but making a choice publicly, with like other kids know that you made this choice, whatever, and like who knows, whatever, all the emotional stuff that goes into that. But yeah, that's an interesting aspect of it. And yeah, I just whatever. It was a cool conversation, and yeah, he's a good dude too. So that was fun. I played a little bit of that, and he actually has that is something he was just on, or not just on, but he did a guest spot on Pixel Project Radio on Outer Wilds. That was one of the best. It was very relatively recent, and it's a 3-part series, and that's a great podcast too. That guy does really cool deep dives on modern games, and that is something I would highly recommend just to like give a reco on something cool that someone I just worked with fucking in their back catalog. Like it was a brilliant conversation about Outer Wilds that if you've been listening to me at all and you played the game all the way through, obviously don't go listen to it until you do that. But if you played that game and have like kind of that like constant emotional desire to find people intelligently analyzing the experience of it, like that conversation is one of the better ones I've heard. So go check that out.
Interesting.
Anyway, so the big thing, probably honestly, the biggest thing, whatever I haven't played a ton, as much of VR as I would normally play, because I found that fucking RetroArch achievement shit. So I've been on this Chivo mission, dude. Like trying to like, the games that I have like really, whatever, that mean a lot to me. I played a lot. I really have an affinity for going back and trying to master those, because the Chivo lists are fucking interesting and weird, and they make you do stuff that you normally wouldn't do to play the game. It's just a different way to play video games, basically. So like I started with like Diddy Kong Racing was one, and I got into that, and like I have so much nostalgia for that, and I love that game. But I think part of it's playing on the Xbox controller sucks. I think it's not perfect. I don't think trying to emulate the N64 controller. So like a lot of my N64 experiences are, I think, a little more challenged than they would normally be, because I'm using that controller as opposed to just something else. I think that would work a little better, hopefully, maybe specifically a fucking N64 controller, of course,
right.
given that's such a unique controller design. But whatever the case, it could just be I'm old and slow now also. not good video games, but I got into that and I was like, that was the first one and I was like, this is a game I love so much and I love the story mode of that. And I was like, I'm going to master this one for sure. I'm going to put in the work. Like I got into fucking like the harder races against TT, which are like, he's like the fastest NPC basically. And like the upper echelon challenge of that game is, you play the whole story mode, all the courses and all the worlds. You get all the balloons from that, and then you can do that a second time after you've beaten Wizpig, the final boss. And then also, even harder than that, as far as like how fast can you run these races, is the shit against TT, which is he's like a little alarm clock, or a stopwatch rather, and smoked. Fucking just smoking me. Like, now, like, you finish the race and you're just like, you're not, no way am I ever going to finish it at that time. It's just never going to happen. So that was one I dropped, but that was my first experience. And it was funny how much time and effort I put into it only to learn that I wasn't going to master the game, ever. It'll never happen.
You don't want to take the time? You didn't want to just invest
I don't use amount of time, dude. I honestly, I seriously, and again, it'd be, it's the same thing as like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. It's like, if we try this on, maybe there is like some technical friction here that I can get around, and maybe that explains it. But I don't know. It seemed way off and very front. I mean, that's racing games. It's so, there's so many moments. Like the games I'm really enjoying for this, I guess I'll get into that, but like are the ones where they're not, basically that don't require me to be good at video games, because it's so frustrating. Because some of these fucking things, they like make you, the whole point is to make you play through the game more than once, really. Like the idea of mastering it is often based in these Chivo sets in something that like makes you play it a few times, it makes you play it different ways, and like makes you forego things maybe that like would be easier to play the game with. So the whole play experience of the game is harder, and like that takes a shit ton of time, of course. So in the case of these, these races are like 3 to 4 minutes a piece, maybe. I don't know, maybe I'm exaggerating there, but it's not just like do one little thing and you can just try that over and over and over again. You have to like play a whole race, and like a fucking race is like, there's so many different moments in a race. Right. There's so many different moments in a race that can go sideways, basically. So like to get it all right and have it all line up the way you have to get the achievement in these cases in the racing games makes me very angry. So, so like these kind of games, I think even though there are some of them that I would love to be able to do this dumbass box checking for, I don't think I'm built for that, putting in the time on those kind of games.
Makes sense.
Like the next one I have is Mario 64, and that one's a lot more like, there's still some Chivos in that set. First of all, it's a Mario game, so there's just a billion of them, and like that's a game that's so big anyways. 120 stars just to begin with, and like the base level beating the game. So on top of that, it's like fucking, I think it's over 100 fucking achievements actually. And some of them are like, there's one in particular that like people are just like irate about in the forums. Like the fact that this is in like the base achievement set is like very upsetting for a lot of people. Really? it's kind of like, it's speedrunnery. It's like it requires this like really acrobatic, and like that's the thing too. That's so Mario 64 is so early in the Nintendo 64 whatever that they had not worked the camera shit out yet. The camera in that game is infuriating to deal with.
Yeah, it's so frustrating.
It's so frustrating. And like I'm playing Banjo-Kazooie with Amy as a couch co-op thing, and like that's a little bit further down the line, and it's the same concept. You're still dealing with like it's that exact same like game format, but they figured the camera thing, it's still not good. It never gets good, I don't think, on the Nintendo 64, but it does, at least it's better and tolerable, at least more tolerable. And yeah, in Mario it's infuriating at times. So that's something we actually fell off with, which is interesting because Amy and I relatively recently played that whole game all the way through, like right before I moved to LA, I think.
Really?
We 120 starred that game in my bedroom back on fucking 50th and 9th. So I thought that one would be one we could do together, and we got into that and like super annoyed and pissed off. So we ended up dropping that as well. I picked it back up myself, and I'll probably at least get through like the base 120, again, but whatever. So from there, like I started kind of like that got my fucking really burn on this. I started looking at like trying to find games with Chivo sets that are like whatever. Like I've mastered Dragon Warrior. I did that one. That one's super fun and kind of reasonable, like maybe 25 achievements or something. So that was one I mastered. That was pretty good. Jungle Hunt on the 2600, which I hadn't played in forever. That is such a good game, and it's such a good port of that game too on the Atari 2600. I was able to I mastered that in like 4 minutes or something, like under 10 minutes, just pick up and do it. So that was good. Shadowgate I mastered that. And that's a perfect example. Like there's, that is like, you're literally just doing a bunch of weird stuff and dying a bunch of different ways. And like, and it's cool too, because it's, I mean, there's still some frustrating things, and you still got to like, there's one of like beating in a certain amount of minutes and whatever turns and only use 3 torches or something to beat the game. There's shit like that. So it is kind of stakes filled. Like you can't just fuck off and get all these things, but it's still obviously not the same as a fucking racing game or something. It's turn based to a degree. And it just makes you play like a game that I thought I had seen everything in and done everything in and wrote for the most part. It makes you go all the way to the boundary on all aspects of the game. And a game like that I, again, have so much love for and so much nostalgia for, is really cool to play it that way. So that's just a really cool thing to find. Like I did that for Adventure. Same thing, Adventure on the 2600. And actually, for the first time in my life, because of this dumbass thing, I got off my ass and did the work to find that first Easter egg that's ever been in a video game thing. And it was part of it. That was one of the 12 achievements. So yeah, very cool. I saw that for the first time. Never would have done that without this. Even though a few years ago I picked that game up and like finally got into it, and I think we talked about it in some fucking jamming episode at some point that like that's actually especially in the 2600. Mm-hmm. It's a really impressive video game. Like, yes, it takes a ton of imagination to see it for what he's trying to get it as, and you got to read the manual and all that bullshit. But there's enough complexity to it that it really was an incredible achievement, I think, on the 2600. And it is fun. Like that's even today. Like I found it to be fun. And that's
impressive.
How basic that looks. It's, I think, a really impressive accomplishment. So that Metal Gear is another one, ton of affinity for. That one's got 97 Chivos. You're not going to finish it. There's some... It has a bunch of shit. Like, I did 62 of the 97, like, kind of just beating the game. And the last third of them are, like, stealth-based, which you didn't play that game.
I don't
but
like that shit.
It's supposed to, like, it's not, they don't, stealth has not worked out yet. It's cool. There's like, it was a really nice try on the NES to like incorporate, to make a stealth game, but it's not there yet. And like, basically they're all stealth based, like getting through sections of the game without aggroing any enemies. And it's just like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like it's speedrunning stuff basically again. That's kind of what it is. It's just, you got to like, just know the exact fucking place to stand that doesn't aggro this not completely nonsensical, rule set for aggroing this particular enemy.
It's not like there's a line of sight you can see or...
For sure, yeah. It's annoying as fuck. And again, same thing. It's just too long of stretches of that. It's just not worth it, so... Whatever. So just doing a ton of that shit. Super Mario Land was another one I picked up because of that.
Oh yeah, I saw your post.
Yeah, right. So like I did. That's another one that has some goofy achievements. So we won't master it, but at least beat it in that context. So it's just cool. It just gives you incentives to pick up things and play games. 1, play them at all that you don't think about maybe, and 2, play them in a way that you maybe haven't ever played them, and that is a cool impetus, that creates. So doing a ton of that shit. And honestly, it keeps me out of my VR headset more than it would be normal. And like kind of in the world, which is maybe its own thing, whatever. I just sit on my couch and fucking, play with the Xbox controller, link it to my TV, and just stack Chivos, and it's fucking I can listen to podcasts, I can whatever. So it's something in the sense. On the actual VR front, still Skyriming a little bit here and there, but I'm definitely kind of falling off of it. That's a game I want to master for sure, and it's totally achievable to master it, Chivo wise, with this fucking infinite backlog website and just stacking my Chivos. So I'll eventually get there, but I have soured on it a little bit. I'm playing a lot more of Half-Life Alyx these days. I'm in the chapter 7 on that. That's such a good game, dude. I can't believe it's 5 years old. It's just such a good game. It feels so clean and so good and so perfect. It's such a good experience. Yeah, cannot recommend that enough if you're looking for VR shit to play. Arcane Age is a new one that came out. It's on both Quest and Steam. I'm, of course, playing on Steam VR. But, I mean, it's not by a AAA developer, but it feels like a AAA game. It's like... I mean, it's a first-person kind of puzzle-based shooter-y kind of thing. It's very stock in, like, maybe the, I don't know, just the core look of it, you know? Yeah, mechanics. But it does have this climbing thing to it. You have these tools that are like climbing tools, and, you know, it's VR. So, like, climbing in VR is, I like almost fall over sometimes. It's like, it's so immersively real.
Right.
In its climbing mechanics that it's really impressive, I guess, is maybe the simple way to say it. Okay. So that is really cool. It also does a bunch of cool shit with, like, I'm not usually not like guns or whatever, but it has like a lot of cool development aspects to the weapons and stuff and kind of changing what those are. You have like a big rifle you pull over your shoulder, you got a side pistol, and then you got a sword, and you can also get a shield. So you have like a lot of battle, how you approach battle is very to your liking and how you want to do it. And the sword play and stuff is, so far anyways, maybe it'll get repetitive, but great. And like, you can, it's all there. You're like using the shield and like fucking get that fucker to go kind of up and then cut his fucking legs out. And like, it's, it feels good and varied in the, I guess swordplay is probably what I'm enjoying most, the guns or whatever. But
nice.
Yeah, very impressive game. And I'd heard a bunch of that on it, and like I initially saw it, and yeah, it looks like a shooter. And I was like, nah. But I heard enough things about it that were like, this is fucking really good. Try it out. That I don't know. Maybe it's honestly like the sticker price, $30-$40 or something. Not that bad. Not AAA prices, despite the feeling of it. So that's one. And the cool thing about that is, I don't know, whatever, cool. But you got to play it standing up. There is a seated option. It must be insane to play it that way because it's so.
Why?
It's so, yeah, I don't know. It must, I can't imagine how it implements. It can't be pleasant, and you gotta be capable of fucking hitting your hands on stuff or something, because it's just way too involved, I think, to be doing sitting down. But I'd been saying that how I needed something to get me off my ass and off that couch in VR again, because Skyrim had got me like, and Half-Life Alyx also, you can play sitting down. Every now and again, I'll have to stand up and I got a stationary fucking boundary. So when I have to stand up, if I stand up on the couch, I kind of get out of the boundary a little bit. So like I've started I get myself up on my couch and I'm standing on my couch. Fucking doing shit on my couch, just to like look in a cabinet or something,
my gosh.
to get to pick up some bullshit that I couldn't see. So, it's funny what VR will make you do, like in actuality, just to play the shit if you're trying to be lazy. But anyways, yeah, that got me off my ass and like up playing games. So that had been the thing with the Forest I mentioned. I had downloaded the Forest VR. That's the one where you crash land on the fucking on the island and the cannibals are running around. You got it's got really cool building mechanics. I played it on PS4 years ago. Really fucking fun game, and I was excited to try it in VR, but sitting down, it didn't work. No. Like it supposedly you can play it that way, but like there's like you got to like open these things like suitcases, and like whenever you got to like go, you actually like got to do shit in that game. You got to like use your fucking little survival axe and like open things and like kill a spider on the ground, or like there's just a lot of shit you got to do that's like has verticality to it, and you can't do that sitting down either. So I'd been wondering if playing it standing up would be better, and sure enough, it fucking was. And so I've just within the last few days, I started fucking with that again, and I didn't beat it long ago because I got to a point that was just like, I don't know, it's terrifying to go down to the caves and deal with the cannibals. And maybe now I'll be able to talk like whatever, just get over that.
Don't be scared, Josh. Don't be scared.
Don't be scared. So yeah, that's all the gaming stuff, which I guess was maybe not as long as I thought it could have been. But the last thing's X-Men Quest.
Yeah,
it's getting pretty good, dude. Extinction Agenda, by far the best storyline so far, by a country mile.
So good.
It brings X Factor back, and I could see how it was laying the groundwork for getting the band back together and the creation of the blue and gold teams, and Havoc taking over X Factor. Like I could see those building blocks happening in those issues, and basically how my era of X-Men came to be. So that was exciting. That had fucking Wolverine and Jean Grey making out. What the fuck? I didn't know that ever happened. That's fucking wild.
You did? Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that actually happened. That is fucking nuts, because like fucking Cyclops is like He's not right over there, but he's in the story. It's like fucking, oh my God. I was like, holy shit. I can't believe they did that. That is wild to me. It's down. Like, they get down. It's such, they make that relationship out to be just so on a pedestal, Like, it's just so star-crossed and devoted lovers. The idea that it just blew my fucking mind. It just blew my mind.
There's so much. Yeah, that's definitely not. Yeah. That's definitely not the case throughout their history. There's so much. I feel like they're much more often not together than they are, like, as you go down the timeline. But
okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty close to where I get off the timeline. So, yeah. I know. I don't know. Honestly, I can't. Whatever. Who cares about that? So that's going on. And I got to issues 274. It was right after that, actually.
Okay.
And that was, I said before, it was my first issue. And I never knew, like, I'm sure I read the issue, but it must not have internalized, or I didn't grasp what it meant, maybe because I didn't have the previous 273 issues behind me to understand where they were at with Magneto and whatever. But, like, that's where Magneto comes back, basically. And it's where he's on the cover with Nick Fury, and they're in the Savage Land dealing with some shit. And, like, yeah, it's where he comes back into the fold and kind of is the ramp up. It's the beginning of the ramp up for everything that, like, I know in that, like, around issue 300 era. And it just blew my mind that I'd always had, like, that was my first issue, and I'd never known how, like, seminal
pivotal
it was.
Yeah,
I never knew that. And, like, that was so cool to realize as I was reading that issue. Like, it was immediately apparent to me. I was like, holy fuck, this is huge what's happening here. And, like, that had never fucking occurred to me at all. So it was just really cool and fun to connect those dots and see that happening.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, I got through that, and, like, I've just started the Muir Island saga, which maybe like issue 278 or something like that. So I don't know where that's going yet exactly. It's a little bit, it almost seems to me like a step back from where the Extinction Agenda shit was. Like the Shadow King is I don't even know what that is. I've never heard that before in my life.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, but there is shit, like, I can see Professor X working his way back. They just saved his ass from that. He was, like, mind controlled or something, and they saved him, and they're like, in this issue, there was like a one panel where he gave a direct order to the whole group, and, like, they didn't, like, it wasn't like they, like, tried to draw attention to that happening, but, like, I saw him do that, and I was like, that's like it was kind of dickheady, which I've said before, like, I can't believe how dickheady he's been to date. So, like, I don't know, does that persist? Does it stay that way? Do I just have a complete misconception of what his character is like because of the cartoon, where he's maybe less of a dickhead or something? But whatever. He gives us, like, very direct, and out of place, I guess maybe that's it, is, like, he's not in power yet. Like, Storm is still the leader. Like, he hasn't been around. They just saved his ass. Like, and he, like, gives this order to the whole group. And it was just like, who the fuck are you? I was like offended. I was like, who the fuck are you? Who do you think you are? Like, yeah, who the fuck do you think you are to be giving orders right now? Shut the fuck up. Like, dude, shut the fuck up. You can't even, like, shut up. Is what I wanted someone to say to him. So it was funny, I guess, just that I had that emotional of a response to it. But it was very notable to me that he gave an order. And I don't know, I'm sure that's the breadcrumbs for him.
That's definitely a Charles Xavier thing.
Being in charge, so that was kind of interesting. So yeah, that's where it's at. And I just got to be so close to working our way up to the fucking Fatal Attractions and all that. And
oh man,
that's cool, but it's gotten better. I've been bitching a lot lately about where that's been, and kind of just it seemed like it was going to get good and get cool and start working towards that, and it just whatever. It was a one step forward, two steps back is kind of how it felt. Which honestly, this Muir fucking Island stuff kind of seems like that, but I'm early, so I'll reserve the right to be wrong about that. But
so close. So close.
Okay, let's talk TMNT 2.